Billionaires are often seen as untouchable and invincible, but history has shown that even the richest people in the world are not immune to failure. In this video, we will explore 10 billionaires who lost everything, from their fortunes to their reputations. 1. Ike Batista. Ike Batista was once the richest man in Brazil, with a net worth of over $30 billion. He made his fortune in the oil and gas industry, but his downfall began when his company, OGX, failed to meet production targets. In 2013, OGX filed for bankruptcy, and Batista's net worth plummeted. He was eventually arrested for insider trading and spent time in jail. 2. Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes was the founder and CEO of Theranos, a healthcare technology company that promised to revolutionize the industry with a device that could perform a variety of medical tests with just a drop of blood. Holmes was once worth $4.5 billion, but her empire crumbled when it was revealed that the technology did not work as advertised. She was charged with fraud and faces up to 20 years in prison. 3. Bernard Madoff. Bernard Madoff was a Wall Street financier who orchestrated the largest Ponzi scheme in history. He promised investors high returns on their investments, but instead used new investors' money to pay off old investors. Madoff's scheme eventually collapsed, and he was sentenced to 150 years in prison. His victims lost billions of dollars. 4. Allen Stanford. Allen Stanford was a billionaire who made his money in banking and finance. He owned a number of companies, including Stanford Financial Group, which was later revealed to be a Ponzi scheme. Stanford was convicted of fraud and sentenced to 110 years in prison. His victims lost over $7 billion. 5. Sean Quinn. Sean Quinn was once the richest man in Ireland, with a net worth of over $6 billion. He made his fortune in the insurance industry, but his downfall began when he started investing heavily in property. When the Irish property market crashed in 2008, Quinn lost everything. He was eventually declared bankrupt and lost control of his companies. 6. Björgólfur Gudmundsson. Björgólfur Gudmundsson was an Icelandic businessman who made his fortune in the banking industry. He was the majority shareholder in Landsbanki, one of Iceland's largest banks, which collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. Gudmundsson lost everything, including his stake in the bank and his ownership of the West Ham United Football Club. 7. Wang Jianlin. Wang Jianlin was once the richest man in China, with a net worth of over $30 billion. He made his fortune in the real estate industry, but his empire began to crumble when the Chinese government cracked down on corruption and risky lending practices. Wang's company, Dalian Wanda, was forced to sell off assets to reduce its debt, and his net worth dropped significantly. 8. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn Wildenstein was once married to billionaire art dealer Alec Wildenstein. She received a $2.5 billion divorce settlement, but her extravagant spending habits quickly ate away at her fortune. She reportedly spent over $1 million a month on clothes, jewelry, and plastic surgery. Today, she is bankrupt and living in a small apartment in New York City. 9. Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya was a billionaire in India who made his money in the liquor industry. He owned Kingfisher Airlines, which collapsed in 2012 due to a variety of factors, including high debt and mismanagement. Mallya was accused of money laundering and fraud, and he fled to the UK to avoid arrest. He is currently fighting extradition to India. 10. Tony Accurso. Tony Accurso was a billionaire in Canada who made his fortune in the construction industry. He was accused of bribing government officials to win contracts, and he was eventually charged with fraud and corruption. Accurso was sentenced to 4 years in prison and was ordered to pay over $8 million in fines and restitution. Conclusion. The stories of these 10 billionaires serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed, fraud, and overconfidence. Despite their immense wealth and power, they were unable to avoid the consequences of their actions. Their stories also remind us that no one is invincible, and that failure can happen to anyone, regardless of their status or wealth. Written by Chatsonic.